So I have this new favorite show. Uh, Originally, it was on FX. I think it came out in about 2016. Now you can get it on Hulu. It's called Better Things. And it's a TV show about a middle-aged single mom named Sam. Now, Sam is a working actor in LA raising three girls, two of them in their teens. And I have to say, this show's not for everybody. It's definitely not for kids. It's at times very crude. There's a lot of potty language, sexual situations, as they say in the warning, et cetera, et cetera. It's an adult show. But I love this show because this main character, this single mom, Sam, she's kind of a hot mess, but she's really loving and empathetic, and she's also feisty. She speaks her mind very directly. She gives voice, I think, to what a lot of women are thinking in the situation she finds herself in related to dating or parenting, career situations. It's really a feminist show. And it also really captures in a way that I don't think you see in our media much. All the expectations, the unrelenting demands that are put on women in general and moms in particular. And this isn't just my opinion. This is my wife as well thinks this. Anyway, so one of my favorite episodes to date is this episode where Sam's friend is dating some super rich guy who has offered to fly this small group of friends up in his private jet for a weekend at his place in Santa Barbara. So it's going to be this incredible escape, this weekend of freedom for Sam. So she drops off each of her kids at a different home, and the kids are complaining, how come we can't stay in our own home? And she's like, because the last time you did that, you ruined the house with a big party, so you lost that privilege. And they're arguing with her, and they're like, wait, Mom, you can't leave. Mom. They just keep like talking to her as she's trying to get away. And she's like, I don't care anymore. Just deal with it. I'm done. Manage as best as you can. It's as if she's saying to her kids, I've got nothing left to give. Nothing left to give. Well, she reminds me of the disciples in our gospel today, because they've been out teaching and healing, and they come back and report back to Jesus on all this work they've been doing, helping people. And Jesus is kind of like the sugar daddy boyfriend in this show. He's like, come away to a deserted place all by yourselves and rest a while. And the gospel goes on to say, for many were coming and going, and they had no leisure even to eat. Does that not sound like a single mom to you? Many were coming and going, and they had no leisure even to eat. So, like Sam in the show, off they go in a boat to a deserted place to rest a while. But the people see where they're going, and they hurry ahead of them out on land to meet them there. The people in this story are kind of like Sam's daughters and the phone calls she keeps getting from them while she's getting on the private jet and flying up to Santa Barbara. Mom, I need money for pizza. Mom, you left me with this family. They're vegans. I can't eat anything. Mom, can you take me and my friend to soccer practice next week? Mom. So anyway, Jesus and the disciples are met by this crowd of needy people, this crowd of people going, Mom. And Jesus, it says, has compassion on them because they were like sheep without a shepherd, or perhaps like kids without a mom. And it's interesting, in Matthew's version of this verse, he adds a phrase. He says, when Jesus saw the crowds, he had compassion for them because they were harassed and helpless, like sheep without a shepherd. Harassed and helpless. So the people are harassed and helpless, and the disciples are just maxed out. They need a break. And the teaching and the healing continue when they arrive at their destination. And it's like, wait a minute, what happened to escaping off to a deserted place to rest for a while? What happened to the disciples' version of the weekend in Santa Barbara? What about that tension that the gospel story has raised between serving others and self-care? Well, it's kind of weird. This conflict is never actually resolved. Mark just kind of drops it. Excuse me a minute. You could even make the argument that the downtime never happens, or at least not in the way it was intended. There's this kind of silence. Do they get a break? But something telling does happen in the passage cut out by the lectionary in between the two stories today that our lectionary has sort of pushed together. In that passage that's missing, they're out in this deserted place teaching and healing, and it gets late. And in a conversation with huge metaphoric overtones, the disciples tell Jesus that the people need to be dismissed. They need to be sent off to go find food. There are no towns around. It's a deserted place. And he tells the disciples, no, you feed them. And they're like single moms, like, feed them? How are we supposed to do that? We barely have enough to feed ourselves. We're down to 5 loaves and 2 fish. We have nothing left to give. But Jesus knows that they do have enough. They just don't know it yet. This is the miracle of the loaves and fishes, as it is the miracle of so many exhausted single mothers, and really of any of us who are trying to do impossible, unending jobs that we love and are unequal to. The disciples are able to nourish everybody with what little they have left. And on they go from there. Jesus getting recognized and mobbed throughout the countryside and finding that they do have enough to heal and to nourish and to restore. What is the something that's happening here? How does a grueling life of helping others just carry on without a much needed break? I'm not sure. But it seems like there is some place the disciples find inside of that grueling life, not away from it, but inside of it, that fills them, along with the exhaustion, also with joy, with community, with the sustenance of love. It's funny, that's kind of what happens at the end of this episode of Better Things as well. Spoiler alert. Sam arrives at her friend's rich boyfriend's mansion in Santa Barbara, where a mariachi band is playing for them, and staff are serving food and drinks, and other rich people are wandering around chatting, and she just finds she can't stay there. She's, alienated, out of place. She talks one of the golf cart drivers at the mansion into taking her down into town to a cheap motel where she checks in. And then she rents a sports car from a car rental agency and goes around and picks up each of her daughters from where they're staying. And she drives them to the beach. And the episode ends with this montage of Sam and her kids holding hands as they walk in the sand, splashing in the waves, doing cartwheels, and spinning in circles, and stretching out in the sun, and just being together. Amen.